I'm so excited about today. Go ahead and pop on. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to pop on. I'm super excited. Actually, you know what? I'm too excited. We're just going to get right started with this. So we have been planning this for a couple of months, and Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants with Stephanie Brackett and Suzi Dobias. And if you don't know what Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is, it's an old book and an old movie. And the reason why we're calling that today is because if you were at the Ops Boss Leader Retreat last year, you remember that Stephanie flew in from Idaho Falls and forgot her pants, all her pants. And she was here for an extended vacation on top of the retreat, and she had to go shopping. Now, any woman who has ever gone shopping, when they don't feel their best, they feel like they're maybe a couple of pounds overweight. I don't care if it's 5 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever. You hate going shopping. And she had to go buy out. And how many pairs of pants did you buy, Steph? Four pairs of brand new pants. And after that, we had some conversations. And as you guys know, at Ops Boss Coaching, we have two of our 3 beliefs that I really felt applied to this situation, which was we use our business conversations to coach the whole person. If you have taken our Be a Boss class, you know that we talk about always be growing and how in order to crush your role as an ops boss, you have to be healthy, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And we are our best selves and empower others to be their best. And so Steph and I had some conversations, and lo and behold, as any good coach would, she picked up the phone and contacted Suzi Dobias to have a conversation that we're going to share with you guys today in an effort for you all to be your best selves. So first of all, I want to introduce Steph. Steph, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then I'm going to ask you if you would introduce Suzi to us.
Okay, so I'm Stephanie Brackett. I'm the Chief Operations Officer of Anderson Hicks Group. I'm also a Be a Boss coach and a trainer. I teach Be a Boss, the 1.0 version, not so much this year because of COVID, and the 2.0 version, which is the Systems Are Sexy. I've been in administration for about 20, oh my gosh, I'm going to age myself right now.
Fingers to count.
30 years. 30 years.
Dinosaur.
Yeah, dinosaur. I'm a dinosaur. About 30 years, and I have been with my current team for 10 years. So, and then Suzi is my awesome rock star nutritionist. I actually got her name at the Ops Boss retreat last year after buying the damn pants. So Lindsay Soprani, many of you guys know her. She had worked with Suzi, and I was just talking about how I didn't feel good. My stomach always hurt. I had stomach issues. I couldn't lose weight. I was depressed about, and I don't get depressed. I'm not a depressed person, but I was pretty much over the whole weight loss thing. And she said, you got to talk to my nutritionist. And so I sent Suzi a message and said, I need you. She was actually full. She didn't have any openings. And I said, put me on your first opening. I will take it. And so in December of last year, December 16th, she sent me the cleanse diet and then said, do this for a week. If you lose more than 9 pounds in your first week, you need to do it for a second week. And then I'll meet up with you. I can take you in February, but just start this.
I want to pause right there with 2 things. One is I want to commend you for being assertive. So you guys, Mo Anderson talks about this all the time. Ask for what you need, because when Steph contacted Suzi up front, there were no openings, right? There were no openings, but Steph pushed until it was meant to happen. And then there was a second thing I was going to say about what you did, and I forgot what it was. So keep going.
Okay. Well, I mean, I literally called Lindsay and said, will you call your lady and tell her to take me? Because I need her. If she could, I mean, Lindsay had lost 60 pounds, and Lindsay had all sorts of underlying issues. And let me tell you, when I knew I needed help, I had tried every diet you can imagine to lose weight. I was still carrying baby weight from my second daughter, who's 24 years old. Like I had not
going to be speaking at our retreat, right?
No, that was my second daughter.
Oh, she's first daughter.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Before we go on, Steph, I want you to introduce Suzi so people know who she is, and then we'll come back and dive into your story.
Okay. So Suzi is a rock star nutritionist. She specializes in SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. She specializes in genes. I've had my genes analyzed and she's been able to tell me what different things. So she's very, very good at reading that. And she's just an all around rock star nutritionist. She lives in San Diego. So it's all via Snapchat. Well, we don't use Snapchat, Marco Polo. We Marco Polo, and we run labs and everything. So it's all remote. I don't have to go see Suzi in person, but we talk every single day about my health. And so she has helped hundreds of people.
So Suzi, I want you to give us a little bit of your background. Thank you so much for being with us. I heard Suzi speak at the Pennsylvania Regional Masterminds. I guess it was about a year and a half ago. Was it 2 years ago? I don't know when it was. But I know that a lot of really smart people in our company have worked with her and had really miraculous life changes, not just weight changes. So tell us a little bit about you and your background, and then we'll go back into Steph's story.
Awesome. So I specialize in bio-individual nutrition. Now, what the heck is that, right? Everybody's like, there's holistic nutrition, there's like regular, what is that? So bio-individual nutrition it's the science and clinical application of taking food and nutrients and someone's actual person, like their health history. I look at genes, I look at labs, I look at lifestyle. I look at how foods interact with them and figure out what works for them and what doesn't work for them. So it's very individualized. It's not, like a keto or a paleo or whatever, because everybody's needs are different. And then also everybody's health issues are different. So with Stephanie came to me with IBS, hypothyroid. My gosh, she had
SIBO.
Yeah. And then that came along with that. I'm a SIBO practitioner, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So that's one of the things that I specialize in as well. And same thing with, like I said, with genetics. And looking at her intake forms and everything else, weight loss is going to be super hard if you're reacting to foods. And that's the thing. And foods will make you inflame, and they can keep you right there until you remove the things that are causing the triggers. And so with her, I had to design a very, very specialized program because, we're dealing with IBS, and that's an animal.
So let's go back to the beginning. I want to go back to the beginning because I want to get into Stephanie's mind, and then I want to take the journey of the past 8 months.
Oh boy.
Do you want to share your news at the beginning or at the end, Steph?
Oh, we can share it now.
Let's share.
You better.
And the end result.
I'm down 102 pounds since December 16th of 2019. So last year. So in just, I hit my 100-pound mark at about 8.5 months in.
I just got tingles down my back. Literally, I'm going to cry. I remember talking to you in December of last year, and you were debating when to start, and you were like, it's about to be Christmas. And I'm like, you'll be ahead of the game. Like, just start.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, I'm just going to start. So,
yeah, my husband said it was either the dumbest decision I ever made or the smartest decision I ever made to start literally on December 16th, right before Christmas. But in my first 2 weeks, my first 2 weeks through the holidays, I lost 18 pounds in 2 weeks.
Whoa. So let's reverse back. So
Okay.
We're now in October at the retreat. You're reaching out to Suzi, November, December, whenever it was, you connect. What made you actually, why all of a sudden did you decide I'm going to do something really pretty drastic? What was it that tipped the apple cart?
I've decided 50 times I'm going to do something drastic. I always decide I'm going to do something drastic. And I've lost in my lifetime probably 1,000 pounds and gained it back and lost it and gained it back. I've lost 60 pounds 4 different times. I've been down 60 pounds and then I always gained it back. And so, this time it was like seeing the results that someone else had, and that, like Lindsay told me, like my lifestyle has changed. And that's what I was always lacking. Like, how do I get my brain wrapped around that I have to change my lifestyle? And it was not easy, because like when Suzi told me in the first week and a half, hey, we're cutting all sugar, we're cutting all carbs, and we're cutting all dairy. And I'm like, but I'll get carbs back, right? I'll be able to eat bread again, gluten. She's like, no, you can't. Your body will not handle gluten. It is gone forever. And I was depressed for like a month and a half thinking, well, when I finish this, I'll be able to eat gluten. When I finish this, gluten's gone now. That's not even an option for me. And I'm okay with
it. It's the devil. Gluten's the devil. Gluten is the devil.
So in your mind, I'm just so curious about the mindset, because I know we have so many people listening who have been down that same path you have of losing, gaining, trying this, trying that. What was your mind like when she said, like, no, you don't get it back? You kept going. Why?
Because the results were there, because her system was so individualized that I was seeing fast results. Now, let me tell you all the things I've tried in my life, just so everybody knows. I've done Jenny Craig. I've done Weight Watchers. I've done the Whole30 diet. I've done Go Low. I've done keto. I've done Atkins. I've done all of them. I've done every single one of them, and nothing worked for me because they weren't meant for me. And so when this started working, and they all show results, I mean, you're going to lose weight, right? Like, you eat less calories and you exercise, 99% of the time, you're probably going to drop some weight, but you're not really changing any of the chemistry in your body and the way your body reacts to food.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I remember at the very beginning of this, you were at a point where you actually had been decreasing your calories and you had been exercising and walking every day, and you plateaued and you couldn't go anymore. Was that part of what sort of propelled you to ask for help?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And and last summer I did, right before the retreat, probably July and August, I did keto again, because you know what? Keto worked for me when I was 20. So I did keto again. I was on keto for a month with 0 carbs, and I lost 2 pounds in a month. And I was like, well, this isn't working. And so I need something that's going to work. There's something
so
up
let's
in my
talk
body.
about, like, what did the journey look like? I'm going to let you guys kind of take it from here, and then I'll pop in with questions. But tell us what the journey was starting in December. What did that look like for you, knowing that your journey might be different than someone else's?
Yeah. Yep. She started me on a cleanse. And Suzi, I think you can pretty much speak to that, but I think you start everybody on the same cleanse, right? And it's meant to get all the information in your body.
Everyone's designed specifically for them. So it's not a general do this detox, because if you have issues with oxalates, or you have issues with histamines, or you have issues with salicylates or FODMAPs, everyone's is specific for them. So I designed one specifically for her based off of what I saw in her intake forms with her symptoms and also with her health history. And I was like, I think she's going to, based off of IBS, she's going to be reactive to this, this, and this. Based off of, if I'm seeing, issues with histamine releases, we're going to pull that out, so it was very individualized. And I know for her, it was oxalates. That was, especially when I saw in her intake form, she had a lot of UTIs in the past. So that is one of the food categories that when you see that'll happen a lot, you really have a hard time with oxalates. So I made sure that it was going to be tailored for her, removing triggers that I saw within her health history. And that's where we started at. And so she did that for 2 weeks. And then of course, like it happens with everybody who, once they get out of the inflammation stage, meaning the inflammation has left the body and now we're moving on to a different stage. Well, if their gut's a mess, that's when I really need to be active in the process, because that's what happened. She lost all that weight, and then everything was, and she's like, okay, I have to wait how much longer for Suzi? Right, Steph?
No, that was it. Because it was December 16th. And so I wrapped up my first 2 weeks, like January. And she's like, I can't take you till February 14th. And I'm like, well, what do I do for 6 weeks? Like, what do I eat? And so she moved her schedule up. She cleared things around, and we started in the middle of January. So I was able to get with her after 2 weeks. And then again, it was just another totally individualized plan. And honestly, shifting so many things around. And in my mind, in the first month and a half, believe me, I was mourning the loss of food. I was a food addict. I used food for comfort, for stress, when I was bored. Whenever we traveled, all our vacations were planned around what we were going to eat. Like, how do we fit 4 meals in this day? Because there's 4 restaurants we want to go, and there's 4 things I want to eat. So I was mourning the loss of food as my sidekick. That was my sidekick for everything I needed. And
Steph, I got to ask you this though, because this is probably the big thing that I see across the board with the people that I work with. They have, big issues with food. Like it's everything. You know what I mean? It's emotional eating, it's stress eating, it's family gets-togethers, everybody's out to eat all the time. And you are the exception to what I have seen, because girl, you have been rock solid. Like you don't deviate. Like 100%, you made this mind shift from being a food addict, a junkie, somebody who was just literally, food owned you. And you decided somehow, some way that it didn't own you anymore. And I got to know how you did that, because I would love to be able to pass that off on to everyone that I work with.
Honestly, I can't tell you exactly how, but I treated it as,
oh, baby. Oh, Steph.
Like I gave to everybody else. Everybody. I gave everything I had. If I had a project, it was 100%, and I never gave it to myself. And so I had to decide that wasn't okay. Like it wasn't okay to give 100% at work and to my family and to everybody else, and then shortchange myself. It was not okay. So I treated it like a project, like I would at work. Like, you know what? You said you were going to do it. Freaking get it done. Just get it done. If you said you were going to do it, do not let yourself down.
Oh my gosh.
I love that, because I think every single person listening to this is in those exact shoes, Steph.
So no, it is true. I see people giving to literally everyone, and they make themselves last. I have a lot of people right now where I talk about self-care all the time. Self-care is something, it is necessary. It's a necessary habit that has to happen every day. It's not something you fit in when you have time. It's not something on the weekend you can get in. If you want a balanced life, if you want to be able to own everything, then you have to make yourself a priority. Your self matters. And it's when I see people drain themselves for everyone else and they're not doing anything to refill their tank, they just burn out. They make bad choices. They're exhausted. They handle things poorly, and food comes into play, and
self-care is not a luxury. I think people think of self-care as a luxury. Steph,
right?
You've just gone through a year of merging the two teams. Like your stress level was up to here.
Oh my gosh.
Working nonstop. Yeah. So
I gained, during the merge, I gained 50 pounds. During that year that we merged, I had put back on 50 pounds because I had lost a lot of weight. And that's stress. And Suzi knows, like she sees when I get stressed, like stress is a major factor in my weight will plateau. And she's like, yep. And she'll tell me every time, you've got to do something for yourself. You have to stop this. You've got to get the stress down, because it's causing a reaction in your body, and you will gain weight and retain fluids and water that cause you to gain weight. And that is your stress. It's your cortisol in your body that is causing that. You have to stop. It happened 2 weeks ago. I was plateaued, and she's like, yep. You got to stop.
And then she started doing Epsom salt bath for Steph, and then Stephanie jumps in an Epsom salt bath. Just even something that small for self-care, all of a sudden weight shift. She was like, okay, get away with her husband, weight shift.
How often were you guys in communication over these 8 months? Like, what does that look like?
Every day.
Every single day.
So Monday through Friday, everyone has access to me. And with Steph, though, there was like we went through some seasons where there was Saturdays and Sundays. We've gone through things. When I take somebody on, basically they become part of my family pretty much. But Steph, man, we have been through just a lot during our treatment plan. As you'll hear, especially attacking SIBO. We attacked it first just with diet and supplements, and then we had to go to elemental, which is like a whole different animal.
So walk us kind of through those 8 months, the two of you. Like, if I was coming into the program, knowing my program might be different than Steph's program, but just give us an idea of what Steph, your journey was for those 8 months.
It's funny because like she said, it's super customized. So, I started with the cleanse, and then I started on a SIBO diet, which was basically, here's a list of foods you can eat. Here's a list of foods you can't eat. Eat these foods, report every day, weigh every day. And if my weight shifted by 1 pound in a day, whatever I had the day before, I was reacting to something, and we'd have to figure out what it was and pull it back out. So I did that up until about, that was most of January. And then at the end of January, I'm like, Suzi, I need to lose like 10 more pounds before family reunion, because I'm going to be on stage at family reunion and I don't want to be super fat. And she's like, okay. And so we did a different treatment for a few weeks before family reunion. But I never stopped losing weight. I mean, I've plateaued for maybe like a week or two, but I've never stopped the weight loss, which has been, once you start building up that momentum, it's just like working on a project, right? Once you start seeing the results of the project, it pushes you and you want to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And that's how I felt, like we were just losing weight constantly. So after I did that special one, then we switched back and we started doing SIBO again, which we were trying to kill all the bacteria in my gut. And it just wouldn't go away. She could tell by, all of my bodily, everything that was going on in my body, we could tell the SIBO was still there, the reactions I was having. So she said, we switched to Elemental, and that was in the first week in May. And let me tell you, it was 3 weeks of all liquid diet for 3 weeks. I had this crap that I had to drink 3 times a day for 3 weeks. And that's my only nutrition.
So let me piggyback on that. So Elemental it's a physician's formula basically, and she gets all of her nutrients. And within that though, by just having those and not with the food, it starves out the bacteria in the gut. And so this was like, you know what, we're going all in. We're going to hit this for 3 weeks and we're going to kill off this bacteria, because when you're somebody who's had IBS for, 20 something years, one, motility probably isn't working well, which, motility is your body's ability to move things through 26 feet of intestinal tracts. Okay, guys ready for that? 26 feet from your small intestine, large intestine, twists and turns all the way through. Now, if you have, if you're not pooing, if you have slow motility, meaning things don't move down through the digestive tract well, you will ferment food, it will back up, and like I said, it will ferment and you create more bacteria. And this bacteria will end up giving you food sensitivities. Your gut becomes leaky. I mean, it's a lot. So it's so funny because as the bacteria was coming out, I'll never forget this. Stephanie was like, there's food coming out of me that I haven't eaten in like 2 weeks, Suzi. Wait, where's the cheeseburger from 1912? Like, I think the cheeseburger from 20 years ago is coming. And she was like, Suzi, I haven't eaten that in over a week. And that just came out of me. And I'm like, okay, see, and that's great information for me too, because that tells me, man, we have to make sure that we're giving you something to help with your migrating motor complex. We have to make sure that is working well, because if not, we're going to have reoccurring bouts of SIBO. Okay. So that kind of information is great. And when I take somebody through Elemental, it's a hard process. I mean, you go from eating food, you go to eating liquid for like 3 weeks. So I create groups, and I'm usually taking several people through at the same time. So they have a support group. So I had this Marco Polo support group, and these girls, I think they are bonded forever, because they were, there has been no group like this group. Let me tell you, they were priceless. I mean, everything from because when the die-off happens, I mean, you don't feel good, okay? Like, I mean, they would be, how are you today? I'm in the bathtub. I think I'm going to make it. Come on, girls, you can do it. I mean, the conversations back and forth were just absolutely priceless. But being able to have the support of other people going through it at the same time, that's priceless.
Priceless. Because it's been interesting to watch this from the outside, because Steph and I literally talk every single day, and she was a little less deaf, I would say, for a short period of time, but she never lost her sense of humor. She never lost her will to continue. At least she never said she did. And I was amazed by that. So I didn't know about the community that you have and the group support. That's awesome. That's what you do very much mirrors what we do at OpsBoss.
Yeah. Right. So I give everybody that daily support with myself, but when we're going through hard things like that, I have to pull a group together, because everyone has questions and everyone struggles, and there's a lot. It's a lot, and it's important to get that outside support, especially when your family has no idea and they don't understand, like all of a sudden you're not eating and they're like, what is this? You're like, I'm killing the bacteria. I'm killing it. Die.
So what was the hardest thing about the past 8 months, and what was the thing you thought would be hard that actually wasn't?
Probably the hardest thing was just the try this. No, you can't eat that. Try this. No, you can't. I mean, like just constantly shifting what I'm eating constantly. I'm fine. Like for instance, I've been eating rice since I got off the liquid diet. I reacted to everything after the liquid diet. I tried chicken, couldn't eat chicken. I tried, you know what I mean? I tried a bunch of things and I couldn't eat them. I would gain weight if I ate chicken. Like chicken's supposed to be good for you, right? And Suzi's favorite thing to say is just because it's healthy doesn't mean it's healthy for you. So it's really very specialized to the person. So that I was eating rice was one of the only things I didn't react to. Right. So I've been eating rice pretty much every day, and only basmati or jasmine, like even the type of rice matters. Every day since like June, all of a sudden a week and a half ago, I can't have rice anymore. Like my body's reacting to rice. So it's that type of thing where it's like, that's what was the hardest thing, was just trying to, I'll buy honeydew melon. We're going to try honeydew melon. So I go buy honeydew melon. I eat it for 3 days and then I start reacting. So I have to throw out the honeydew melon I bought because I can't eat it anymore.
So as you're saying that, what I'm hearing a lot of people think is that sounds really overwhelming to me to have to think about that on a daily basis. Suzi, talk about that because you probably deal with that mindset all the time.
Yes, I do. I especially with changes. So actually, I want to cover this real quick. Seasonal. So there when seasonal changes happen, environmental changes matter. Okay, there are certain foods that are cross-reactive to pollens. Okay, so like she's saying, honeydew, melons right now. Oh, hello. Like seriously, melons, cucumbers, like they're ragweed. Like you if that's blooming and you eat that, you will react. Like I will see people eating the same things. I'm not having issues with this. And all of a sudden they're throat punched. And I was like, oh, wait, hang on. We did this in the spring. The spring was awful. Like everybody was reacting to everything. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be sensitive to this food all the time. No. It's just during these periods. Even me, all of a sudden out of nowhere, I started getting like mouth sores with carrots. And I was like, really? I don't have carrot issues. And I was like, pollen, cross-reactive. Okay. So figuring that out and then making adjustments is hard. Yeah. And right now we're in that season again where pollens are high. And so it's figuring out, is it a cross-reactive thing or also is it a histamine release? Because histamine is a totally different animal. And so yeah, I do a lot of jockeying. I think I called my mornings yesterday drama and trauma because in the mornings is my first touch of everybody. And usually they've hit the scale or I've got doctor consults across the country or I have like pediatric emergencies, but it's, I'm reworking foods. And people are like, but I prepped all week and I planned all week. And I'm like, this isn't going to work. If you want to be inflamed, we can keep going down this road, but if not, we got to shift. And so the adaptability is necessary for most people when they have, but also I'm adaptable as well. Hey, why don't we just stay here until next week? And when you go shop again, we can just make the changes there, but we can alter things here, you know? So I'm really, really flexible. I'm not this is how it has to be, or it's not going to work kind of thing. No. We have to, it's life. You know,
and the dialogue is such an incredible part of your program because how often do we all go to the doctor and you're like, if only I could talk to him, like you have questions the next day and then the next day and the next day, but you can't get in for 2 more weeks. Like the daily conversation, I think has to be such a game changer. Steph, what was the easiest, not the easiest, but the thing that you thought would be hard that actually didn't end up being hard? Or was there anything?
Giving up sugar and gluten. I like the first month I thought this is going to be so hard, but I don't care now. I literally don't care what I eat. I don't care. I just don't want my stomach to growl. Like yesterday, we had friends over for dinner. I went to Costco to pick up all my new glasses. Don't I look smart with my new glasses on?
Beautiful.
I went to pick up my new glasses and I'm like, crap, we've got friends coming for dinner. I'll just grab pizza. I grabbed pizza, chocolate cake, salad, all the things for them to eat. And I went home and made myself a steak and I don't even care. Like they're all sitting there eating pizza and chocolate cake. And I don't even want a bite of it. I don't care. Like, I don't care. It's killed that. Once you stop eating the things that are causing you to want to eat them, you stop craving them and you just don't care. So that's been the easiest for me. I thought that would be really hard. When she first told me, like I said, when she first told me no gluten, I was in mourning for like literally a month trying to figure out, okay, how and when will I ever be able to get a piece of sourdough bread back in my life?
What about cooking? Because I have experienced your cooking. It's totally fabulous. And how do you cook now?
I still do it. I cook for others. I'll still make, like, one of the girls in the office. She's like, it's my birthday and I want lemon bars. I'm like, I'll make them. So I just have to have someone else taste them for me to make sure they're okay before I serve them to everybody else, because I can't taste it myself.
That's awesome. I'm just going to look and see if there's any. If you guys have questions as you're listening, please, we have about a bunch of people listening that are relating. So put your questions in the box. I
was going to tell you one thing that's like, this is how individualized her plan is. So about, Suzi, what was about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I'm literally in the bathroom one morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't lost any. So when I went on the elemental diet, I dropped like 16 pounds in 3 weeks, right? In the middle of a diet. I'd already been losing a ton of weight. I dropped 16 pounds in 3 weeks. Then we had to introduce back in food. I gained back like 8 immediately. And it took me probably 3 weeks to get those 8 back off. And I was like, not happy about it. I was super not happy. And I was super stressed at work, and I was depressed. Like, I don't get depressed. I don't have depression issues in general. And I was a basket case, and I'm on the phone with her in the bathroom at 6 o'clock in the morning, like Marco Poloing her. And I'm crying, like, and I this was the first time she probably seen me cry. I hadn't cried about anything. I don't care.
You don't cry. You don't, you're a rock, man. Nothing phases you.
Yeah, I just don't cry. And I'm like, Suzi, I'm so upset, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, hold on a minute. And I'm like, what? And she leaves Marco Polo. She comes back like 5 minutes later and she's like, stop taking your multivitamin. And I'm like, what? She's like, you cannot handle B12 in the methylate form. Stop taking the multivitamin. And I'm like, what the hell? And she's like, that's how she had done my genes. And she went and looked at my genes again and then cross-referenced it with the multivitamin I was taking, and realized that the multivitamin I was taking had a form of B12 in it that my body could not process. And it literally caused me to go crazy. I was going crazy.
Yeah. So that's the other side of this. So genetics is a huge player in this. And I looked at her genes. She has, your compound heterozygous for MTHFR gene mutation, C677T and A2818. Okay. So she's got issues with detoxification, methylation. All right. Now, most of the time, doctors would look at that and say, you need to take a methylated B vitamin. That's what you need. Well, okay. Because why is that important? Well, when you have C677T, if homocysteine levels in your body elevate, you're at risk for heart attacks and strokes. Okay. B vitamins, keep them lower. All right. That's the necessary protocol. However, if you don't look at other genes and you just look at that one gene, you're in trouble. Because if you have the COMT gene, and there's 2 different variants that she is homozygous in, homozygous means 2 copies, 1 from each parent. Okay. If you take B12 in the methylated form, it can jack your track up. And sure enough, B12 was in there in the methylated form, and she was crying. And the minute we moved that out and changed it over to, hydroxy, like she was fine. Like, but it was, who would have known? And the hard thing, like I said, with that is most doctors just automatically, you need a methylated vitamin, and they don't look at all the other genes, and you have to. And so I get a lot of patients who will come to me and they're like, yeah, I'm MTHFR. I have really bad anxiety. And I'm like, what are you taking? Let's talk about this. First of all, what are you taking? And second of all, we can fix that with amino acids also.
So as Steph is going through this journey, and we're now 8 months in, and Steph, I think you told me that you are still continuing to lose. Is that okay?
Yep.
At what point do you graduate? If your body's constantly changing, it took you 50 years to get your body to this point, or 49. At what point do you are you able to graduate and figure this out on your own versus talking to Suzi every day?
Yeah, she's actually really good about things like that, because we know as soon as when she said the B12 thing, she's like, I need you to write this down, because this is something that even when you're gone, you have to be careful of the rest of your life. But like SIBO, for instance, once we kill that, she's always saying, okay, just because you can't have honeydew melon now doesn't mean you can't have it ever. And so she's teaching you the whole time, like how to, I know that if I gain a pound in a day, I'm reacting to something and I got to look at what I ate the day before. So you're learning the things. My goal is to lose 130 pounds total. My original goal was to lose 110, and I'm only 8 pounds away from that. And I'm like, yeah, I need more than that. I need 28 more pounds. So once I lose the 130, that doesn't mean I'm done with her. It means I've met my weight loss goal, but is everything healed up? And then once everything heals up, she'll graduate you out of her. But yes. Suzi and I will be friends forever.
Oh, we're lifers.
I have some questions from the group that are coming up. So Jean wants to know, did the cravings stop after a month of not eating sugar?
The craving stopped after 4 or 5 days of not eating sugar.
Wow. That's pretty miraculous. Okay. Jennifer wants to know, what if you're vegan?
I was vegan.
You were?
I was vegan. No, like in this thing, I was spent how many months was I vegan, Suzi?
Oh my gosh, we've gone vegan. We've had to do low sulfur. I mean, we bounced all around. So yeah, I work a vegan life. Yeah.
It's called lentil pasta.
Okay.
Right?
And then Jody wants to know, do you reach a point where the choice of food is not so restrictive? After reaching your goal, do you go on a maintenance plan?
So yeah, everybody's different, you know, and yeah, and just so you know, not everybody is this restrictive. This is an extreme case of somebody who had some really bad digestive issues, okay? And you know, also dealing with thyroid and hormones. I mean, Stephanie had a lot going on. So this isn't a normal cut and dry of somebody who just, you know, comes in and they don't have a lot of health problems coming in. And so everyone is different. And I mean, some people, I've even, well, I was going to say you'll see, but you don't see me. So anyway, everybody's food expands. Like I have somebody that I'm graduating, I believe today, as a matter of fact, took 50 pounds off of her, and she had SIBO. We went in, we treated it. She had histamine issues, everything else. And man, that girl can eat anything. You know, I have somebody else who went through actually elemental, same time Stephanie did. And like that girl can eat anything and then some, and we can't keep weight on her, you know? So.
Okay. So another question for you is, I know Steph, and our community knows Steph very well. And Steph is extremely highly respected and highly looked up to. So I think there's probably some people thinking, oh, well, that's just Steph because Steph can do anything. She makes things look easy that aren't easy. And we all know this wasn't easy. What is your ideal client? Like, what is the situation? What is the personality? Is there an ideal client for your programs?
So no. So this is interesting that you're asking me this, because I'll look through intake forms and I can usually flag and see somebody who's going to be problems. Okay. And I remember specifically looking at this one gal and I went, oh man, she's had bulimia. We've dealt with all sorts of, you know, we've had some food issues. Her mental state, like, oh, this is not good. This is going to be hard. And this is going to be really difficult. And that girl has blown it out of the stinking water, like nobody's business. Like I just given the right tools. Now, let me tell you the right tools for her though. So I do amino acid therapy. So when your neurotransmitters are off, okay, so your neurotransmitters are dopamine, serotonin, GABA, you know, epinephrine, all of these things affect your mood, anxiety, depression, these kinds of things. Their natural substance in your body is amino acids, okay? So when they become out of balance, these things can get thrown off. And when that happens, you have anxiety, you have depression, you have things where you just can't tackle things. And I knew that with her, she had all this going on. And I said, we're going to pause for a second. I don't want you to look at the food. I don't want you to look at anything. We're going to focus. We're going to add in amino acids, and we're going to do some amino acid therapy. We're going to use 5-HTP. We're going to use the bases of things. You need B6, you need zinc, you need magnesium, you need certain foundational things for your neurotransmitters to even connect. And if you don't have them there, you're going to be a hot mess. And the nice thing about amino acid therapy is it's immediate. Like when you start adding it in, it's not like a medication, and it's also a natural thing that your body already has in it. We're just balancing it out. You'll see a difference within an hour. Okay. So, and then we figure out are you feeling good? Are you feeling great? Are we there yet? And there's different categories. So we look at for amino acid therapy as far as what's low in your body, whether it being serotonin or dopamine or 5 or GABA, you know, or your catecholamine. So I look at all of these things and I give them a questionnaire and highlight which ones are in. So then we target those and we balance out. And literally within a week, she was like, I can do anything. And before it was crying, I can't do this, and I'm just a failure in the food, and it's too much now. But once we dialed that, this girl is she's crushing everything. Like, and like just her joy, just everything. It's like, bring it. Oh, I can do this.
It's the same thing Steph said, is that you were able to help her get results fast enough that the mind and the spirit came together with making this possible. That I can do this because I am seeing the results.
And honestly, I was going to say, Christy, probably if I was to say what Suzi's ideal client is, it's the one that listens to Suzi. She's the expert. Right? I'm not the expert. I couldn't do it on my own, which is why I hired Suzi. It's the same thing with, you know, when you have like an ideal employee. What's the ideal employee? Well, the one that'll listen to you and take constructive feedback and make the changes necessary. They're coachable. That's probably your ideal client, someone who's coachable. I did this to myself and I couldn't get myself out of it. I needed some expert to tell me how to get out of it. And that was Suzi. So I just do what she tells me to do.
And that's been like the key thing. I have Stephanie. So I have a thing called Moto Mondays where I have people come in, all my clients or past clients, they come in and they give their testimony on where they're at and everything else. And I always send Steph in because she gets it done because she's like, just listen to Suzi. Just do what she tells you to do. And also tell her everything because everything matters. I mean, not just the food, but the stress, but the environment. I mean, everything matters. And so that's what, just having that line of communication, that's the ideal person for me, you know? And it's, girl, you're just a blessing. Like God gave you to me and I'm so happy because just honestly, we've been through it and you crush it. And
the communication. Steph, did you interview Suzi like on Zoom or on the phone at all before you started coaching, or you just sent all the intake to her?
No, it's just when you get a referral from someone you trust in real estate, right? You ask somebody, hey, who do you use? And you trust that person. And they say, I use them. I trusted Lindsay. I was friends with Lindsay and I said, who do you use? And she said, use this gal. And I said, okay.
So just to piggyback on this, Lindsay interviewed, I think, 40 different nutritionists before hiring me. 40 different nutritionists.
As any good recruiter would.
And so, but even though the communication and stuff with me and asking questions. So just so you know, I am so buried, like with if I have this much communication with all of my patients, I don't have time to get on the phone with people. My team will talk to people if I need to. But it's basically by email or communication. I mean, I'm waitlisted right now until January. And because I'm one of the only SIBO practitioners, registered practitioners here in San Diego. And so I'm actually bringing on another nutritionist in January. I have an intern starting with me this next week because of the load it's just too much. But I have a lot of critical patients right now. And like I'm taking a lot of people through cancer. There's a lot going on. That being said, like we have programs and stuff that people can use from my website. Like I have a month-long program like that walks you through not just those first 2 weeks like with Steph, but now it's like walking all the way through a month with me. And it introduces foods, allows you to like figure out what's going on with you and stuff. So, but
all the options listed on your website, we'll post the website in the comments.
Yeah. So the options are listed on the website except for one-on-one coaching with me, that they pulled that out of there just because I'm not taking any. Now I say that and then I get myself in trouble because if you're somebody with a really bad health issue and you need help, or if it's a pediatric, like I had somebody hit me up just 2 days ago, 16-year-old daughter with Hashimoto's. I mean, and she is in such bad shape. And I was like, yes. Like I'm still, I might not be able to get to her until November, but it won't be January. You know what I mean? So there are situations where my team screens what comes in to see what Suzi,
well, we're all in real estate, so we're used to working with teams, and we know that there's specialists on every team, so it doesn't always have to be you. There can be other people on your team that are even better than you at different things that they do in the process. Jennifer wants to know if you work with men as well.
Oh God, yeah, yes.
Which I know. What else do we want people to know about the process, about the journey? Steph, I just want to say before we hang up, I love you like a sister, and I am so happy to see you getting so healthy, because that means that we can be friends for a really long time. And I'm just so thrilled with that. And Suzi, I want to thank you for being such an incredible partner with Steph, because wow, this 8 months, and I'm excited. I know you're still on the journey, but I just want to thank you both Steph, for being so transparent with our community. Our community, our Ops Boss community, is so important to us. Mind, body, soul, and spirit. You guys know when you come to the retreat, it's not all business. In order to do great business, you have to be healthy everywhere. So what else, if there's anything else you guys want to know, post your questions in the comments. And what else do you guys want people to know about the journey, about any of this?
Well, thanks for making me cry right at the end. Because
I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry too. And I know you get a migraine when you cry, so I always try not to make you cry.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of migraines, just FYI, like, I had lifelong migraines. I don't know how many of you know, but my mom passed away from an accidental drug overdose from prescription medication that she took for migraines. Like, I have a health history of migraines, and this has cured my migraines. Like, I haven't had Botox since February. I had to get Botox in my forehead because the migraines were so, I had them. I woke up probably 27 days out of 30 days in a month with a headache. Like, I was a highly functioning migraine person because I just dealt with the pain. I have a really high pain tolerance. And so I just dealt with it. This has cured the migraine. Wow. Suzi was able to figure out, you know what, I've got histamine issues. And when I overload myself in histamines, which means I ate strawberries and a bunch of other food all in the same day that have histamines, my cup overflowed, I'd wake up with a headache. And so
now I can make you ugly cry and it won't hurt.
That's right. I know my husband said, maybe we can watch crying movies now.
That's awesome.
Because I won't ever watch them. I'm like, no, we can watch Terminator again. We don't need to see Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
No, but you are living Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, because hold on a second. Hang on a second. I got to bring this up, because at that retreat, wasn't there somebody's pants that you said you were going to fit into about this time next year?
Amanda Doll's pants, and we wear the same size now. So I do fit in Amanda Doll's pants.
Oh, that's so awesome. Oh my God.
And Amanda and I have been talking, and I had no idea she had lost 115 pounds back in 2017. I just thought she was cute and skinny like she is now always. So
that's awesome. I can't wait to see you in your pants at the retreat. Speaking of which, for those of you who are on right now, we literally only have 2 tickets left because we've had to cut them off due to COVID requirements for how many people we can have in the room. So just wanted to throw that in there. Suzi, what else did you want to leave people with?
I want to leave people with hope. I want to leave people with hope in don't quit on yourself. Honestly, I have so many people that come to me and they've been to doctor after doctor, and they've been on medications after medications, and everyone's telling them there's nothing wrong with you, and food matters. Honestly, it's the one variable that happens every single day to your body. It's what you put in it. It matters. Just because it's healthy doesn't mean it's healthy for you. And it can affect your mood. It can affect literally your weight, your health, period, because it creates inflammation in your body if you're eating the wrong things. Do something. Don't not do anything. Just make a decision to do something to bring yourself to be in a better place, to be better for your family. And don't not take care of yourself. Make sure that you're taking time for self-care. You know, honestly, it's more than just food. It's more than just, it's lifestyle, you know, and if you're not making yourself a priority, you're important and you're valuable. Don't think that you're not. You can't keep giving to others when you have nothing left to give them. Okay. And
what's
everything.
Your website, Suzi?
It's RCAnutrition.com.
rcanutrition.com. And if they want to reach out to you, do they just do that through the website?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was going to say one more thing on that too. You guys think, oh, she must work out all the time and she's done all this exercise. I haven't worked out once. This is literally changing my food. I do not work. I don't have time to work out. Like I've got coaching clients in the morning before work, and then I put in a full 8 to 12 hour shift at work. Right now I don't have time to work out. So this has all been done with figuring out what food works for me.
So
what I put in my
Steph,
body.
how do you, if previously your default for stress or for celebration or for all the moments was food, what is your default now to celebrate? What is your default now for stress?
My stress default is a bath. I'll take a bath, like a hot bath.
We know you like bath bombs. Everybody sent
like
bath bombs to Steph.
Yeah. For like when we're hanging out, I don't need the food. I'll still hang out. I'll still go out to dinner with them.
What about celebration? Like people be like, oh, let's celebrate. And like, we're going to go out and get sundaes or I don't know, whatever. What do you do to celebrate what are you doing to celebrate your milestone of 100 pounds lost?
I'm going to Mexico, to Cancun.
So, and she also celebrates by buying new clothes. Let me tell you, that girl bought some like she treats herself and rewards herself with things that just aren't going to hurt her or take her, off the track. So whether it's Cancun or it's patio furniture or it's going and buying some clothes or literally owning Costco, I don't know, or Amazon, I don't know. I think we have you beat still on. Yes.
I'm pretty sure the Amazon Prime guy should just be on your payroll by now, Steph.
Yeah, pretty much. Buying a new house, things like that.
Right.
Like furnishing my new house. Like that's how I celebrate now.
View. Yeah, you sit and look at your beautiful sunset. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you both. I think we could go on and on for hours, and I'm sure people have individual questions, but you guys all in the community know that you can post your questions and stuff. We'll circle back at some point. And eventually we'll get this up on YouTube. Actually, we won't because I forgot to hit the record button until halfway through. You guys don't kill me. But it will be recorded in the Facebook group, and I'll see if we can get it from there.
Okay.
Anything else you want to finish up with?
Nope, just do it. If it's ever been on your mind, like there's never a better time to start doing something about your health, and it's totally worth it. It's 100% worth it. 100%. I can tell you right now, the cost to have Suzi do this was totally offset by the lack of food that I was eating. I was spending way more on food than I would on Suzi. So like, figure it out. You'll figure out how to make it work.
I see that all the time. People will be like, I can't afford you. And I'm like, how many meals do you guys eat out a week? Oh, we go to dinner like 3-4 times a week. And I'm like, you can afford me. Like, really.
Jeff, don't tell her that we eat out twice a day, 7 days a week, okay?
I know. But you don't have health issues around it.
So I want to say something to both of you. Thank you both for what you do. The impact that the two of you make in so many different lives is incredible. As coaches, as just people, I mean, you guys have been blessed with such gifts and in everything that you do. And you're just such a blessing to so many. And I'm thankful that I get to be here with you both. But I just want you guys to know how much I appreciate you. And I know that God looks down upon you and says, good job, people. Good job, faithful servant, because I know that you guys are you're just amazing, and you love people and you care about them, and you care about the whole package. It's not just about teaching them how to be good at their job. You're teaching them these life skills that go all the way across the board. And just thank you guys for that, because we need more people like you.
Takes a village, and we're glad to have you as part of our village. So thank you so much, Suzi. And you just made Steph cry for the last time.
Again.
And we're going to go ahead and wrap up. And I thank you guys so much, those of you who are with us live and those of you who are listening back. We're glad you're listening. And now it's time for you guys to go out and get bossy and get healthy. So thanks so much, everybody. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.